Okay, I hope that we are live here. I hope that we are live. If you're in the room, say, hey girl, hey. I want to see you're here. I want to know that you're here. I have a story to share with you. I really have a story to share with you today. It's been a while since I've been on, but I'm glad to be on. And it's been a while since we've been able to connect. So I'm glad to be here. But I really just wanted to share with you this incident that happened to me. So, a lot of you know a few months ago, I spoke out about having blood clots. I shared pictures of having major surgery. So, I've just been going through sort of a healing process. And what that healing process looks like is making sure that I'm eating really good food. So, I think a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, I talked about restarting my vegan diet. And I've been walking, like trying to walk every day just because after coming off of 3 blood clots, wanting to be, moving again, wanting to be feeling good. So, the day before yesterday, I got up super early. I was like, I'm gonna get my walk out of the way super early, get this out of the way so I can just get to the down to business, to get to work. So I get up super early and I'm walking down my street. I'm having a wonderful walk. It's almost over. I bend the corner to come back around. So my street is really long. I bend the corner to come back around and I see my neighbor and she's walking down the street this way. I'm walking this way. Actually, she was walking this way and I was walking this way. And my house was just past where her and her dogs were standing. And so her dog saw me and they got super excited and they started running towards me. Now, we all have dogs in our family. We all, whether we love dogs, dislike dogs, we all have dogs in our family. First of all, I have a dog that lives in the house with me. His name is Jack, and we coexist pretty well here together. He belongs to Dorian. And we have another dog in our family named Bentley, and he is my sister's dog. So I am very familiar with dog love. I understand that people love their dogs. I love the dogs in my family from a distance, but I do still love them. And I totally understood her dogs being excited to see me. So her dogs see me and they take off running. Now, these are not little dogs. Like, these aren't like little small tiny dogs. These are medium to large size dogs. A big black dog and a big brown dog. And they are like, hey girl, hey. And they just start running towards me. So I'm like, ma'am, can you get your dogs, please? So, and I'm talking loud because, again, I told you she was walking this way and her dogs took off running the opposite way, and I was far behind them. So, I wanted to make sure that she could hear I did not want her dogs on me. But I wasn't like, you need to get your dogs. I was just like, ma'am, can you get your dogs, please? And I repeated it because I wanted her to hear, like, I'm not in the mood for your dogs today. So she was like, I'm coming, I'm coming. But she really wasn't coming. Not only was she not walking towards me, she was just on her phone or doing whatever she was doing. She had no urgency about getting her dogs. By this time, her dogs are surrounding me, and I'm like, please, I hope. I'm so tired. I've been walking. I have also, let me tell you, been dealing with sciatica since the blood clot. So I'm dealing with sciatica. I'm walking. I'm dealing with healing. And I don't want to be bothered with any dogs, right? So she finally starts making her way towards the dogs. She was like, you don't have to be rude to a neighbor. I told you I was coming. I definitely wasn't going to run. And I said, ma'am, I'm going to need you to get your dogs, please. So she was like, it's obvious you don't walk on these streets, because if you walked on this street, you would know my dogs. You would know that they're pretty harmless. I don't know why you're afraid of them. Never once did I say, ma'am, I'm afraid of your dogs. What I said was, ma'am, get your dogs off of me, please. Right? So, and the dogs were just being rambunctious dogs. like dogs do. But the problem that I had was she wasn't respecting my personal space. She wasn't understanding that I really didn't want the dogs to jump on me. I really didn't want to engage the dogs. I don't know the dogs. I don't know her. So I would like for her to get her dogs, please. So then she says, well, maybe if you come to my house. And I said, ma'am, if you can't get the dogs off me in public, why would I want to come to your house where they live and be in their personal space and be saying, don't jump on me? You're not understanding that I don't want your dogs on me. You're not really understanding that this black body is not a toy to be played with for your dogs. That today, this black body doesn't want to be bothered with your dogs. I could tell emotionally that she really didn't understand I didn't want to be bothered with her dogs, that it was her dog's right to be on the street. She really believed in her heart that I was afraid of her dogs and not that I didn't want to be bothered with her dogs, right? As a woman walking down the street, I have the right to not want to be bothered with your dog. If I had Jack, I would have A, had him on a leash. But B, if somebody don't want to be bothered with Jack, they don't have to be bothered with Jack. I know how to take Jack, and me and Jack, we can come on because that's my fur baby. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everybody has to be responsible for their own dog. Just because you love your dog, just because your dog is harmless, doesn't mean that somebody else wants to be bothered with your dog, right? The thing about this incident that has really got me shook is like, she's my neighbor. I don't really know her that well, but who wants to be in conflict with a neighbor? Like, who wants to be in conflict with someone who they live around? You know, and my issue is that I don't know that I can reach her because she really didn't understand I didn't want her dogs around me. So she goes, well, you can just get on, get on. So I said, okay, ma'am. Of course, in this century, if a white person on a road tell you to get on, you need to get on because you can get shot for being black, honestly. So I'm like, okay, let me get on because I'm right at my house at this point. Like I told y'all, I'm so close to my house. So I'm like, let me get on. So I'm walking away. So she starts following me, which means her dogs are now still running around me, right? And so she's like, well, my dogs are friendly, but it's a bear. I was like, lady, listen, you never have to worry about me walking on this street again. You never, ever have to worry about me walking on this street again. So she was like, well, I know that you live on this street and you guys drive too fast down the street. And I was like, ma'am, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because Dorian got his license. I didn't tell her this, but I knew she was right because I'm always asking both Raph and Dorian to slow down on the street. I said, you know what? I'm gonna talk to my family about that. But you still need to get your dogs, please. And that was the issue. She really did not feel that she needed to get her dogs, that her dogs were more important. What they wanted to be doing to my body was more important than what I wanted to be happening to my body. And you know, we see these videos like all the time. Like we really do, y'all. Like we see these videos all the time on Facebook and we're like, how did this happen? How did it go from this person's walking down the street to this person's walking down the street, that it goes from 0 to 100? I see it on Facebook all the time, and I never thought that it would happen to me. Like I never thought that any of my neighbors would be so rude as to not have their dog on a leash, or to be so rude that if they didn't have their dog on a leash, which is probably against the law, that they would at least have some urgency about getting their dogs when someone else isn't really feeling the dogs, right? So my thing is, it really wasn't the dogs. The dogs are beautiful. They take great care of the dogs. I don't know the dogs. I don't know the dogs' names. I only usually see the dogs when they're with her husband. And so my husband said, Aisha, you know, I said, babe, like usually if I'm out there and he's with his dogs, the dogs don't run towards me. And he said, you know, babe, they're like children. With this person, they have this kind of energy, and with this person, they might have a different kind of energy. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I want my white friends to know about their dogs. So I'm just going to be frank with you guys. Throughout history, Black people have always said we often feel like y'all give more love and attention and respect to your dogs than you do to the race of Black people. I don't know if that's true, but I know that there have been a lot of talk about that as I've grown up through history. When you have your dog, whether it's a white person, a Black person, a green person, a purple person, a whatever, doesn't matter. It's your dog. You're responsible for your dog. That's your fur baby. And so when you have your dog, you have to make sure that your dog is behaving. That is your responsibility as the owner of the dog, right? It's your responsibility to make sure that your fur baby stays safe and anyone who's around you and your fur baby feels safe. Just because your dog is friendly, that does not mean somebody else wants to engage with the dog. Nobody is forced to love your fur baby the way that you love your fur baby. All of that is your business, right? But what is the other person's business is making sure that they feel comfortable around you and your dog when your dog is not at home. Right? Now at home, if I come into your house and your fur baby's jumping all on me, I realize I need to respect that because I'm in your fur baby's house. This is where he lives. But on the street, in general, just living my life, I shouldn't be accosted by dogs, right? Because you love them, because they're yours, because they make you feel good. This isn't the first time that something like this has ever happened to me, but it is the first time that I've stood up for myself. I actually got Jack because I used to go to the dog park and I was like, all these puppies, they just, draw to me. And I like dogs once I know them. You know what I mean? But if I don't know your dog, I can be a little bit fearful. Sometimes with Jack, he lives here with me. He's been here with me for many, many years. And sometimes he give me a look and I be like, go to your owner. I don't want to be bothered. So I just feel like it's really, really important for people to understand that's your dog, and for me, my big dilemma is how do I make up with a neighbor who literally doesn't respect my body, right? Like she really thinks that my body is here for her dog's pleasure and that I'm a problem if I don't want to be bothered with her dogs today. How do I stay in community in that kind of situation? So I'm just sharing my experience, number one, because I want my white friends to know everybody who don't want to be bothered with your dog, not scared of your dog. They just don't want to be bothered with your dog, and they have a right to not want to be bothered with your dog. Number two, that I'm sharing this video because I want people to understand that you don't have to feel as if your body is for somebody else's dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm, and then the other reason why I'm sharing this video is because I want us to get to a point where we can coexist together. I know that my white friends particularly are good people who love and care for people and would never want to make people feel uncomfortable. And sometimes our culture is just different. So I just wanted to kind of just share my experience, share what happened to me. Give me some feedback. How would you deal with a neighbor who doesn't respect your body, who feels like whenever her dogs want to play, then that's where you should be and what you should be doing? I could tell that this woman is a genuinely good person because she loves her dogs and she cares about them. She takes good care of them and she wants them to have a loving environment. But she can't do that at the expense of my Black body. So any advice, I'm open to sharing. Of course, this video will be available here as well as on YouTube. I look forward to the discussion. I'll talk to y'all soon. I love y'all. Bye.